I can't even tell you how good this feels. We are back in the desert, off-grid, back on four wheels after a crazy January.
You've been down this road for far too long. He left your love behind, but still you keep on crawling back despite the pain inside. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and you'll see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me. Your tears, they say 1,000 words. I've heard them all before. The ones who love the most, my dear, are the ones left hurting more. He broke you down with no remorse. Now who will heal the bruise? The one you want in your heart, standing right in front of you. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and you'll see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me. You can always trust in me. I'll show you a life that he can't see. You'll become who you've always wanted to be. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and you'll see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me. Cause all that I want is for you to be happy. Give me a chance to show that you can be. Well, open your eyes and you'll see the way I see. 'Cause all that I want is for you to be happy with me.
I got something over here. I heard something.
Let's talk our property and how we're trying to rezone it and what's going on with it.
And why it's taking so long.
Oh, so long. Yeah. So usually when you buy property, you just go buy it and it's easy, right?
But that's not the way we do
But we
things.
like to do things difficult. So we were looking for a specific type of zoning in Cochise County, which is RU4. RU4 means that it is at least 4 acres, and it's designated so that you can opt out of certain building codes. Sorry, not building codes,
Building
but
permit.
building permits and inspections. You still have to build the code. You don't have to hire an electrician or a plumber or an architect. Like, you can try to build your own structures in unconventional ways. So we're looking at like straw bale and earth bag housing and sort of just ways that you wouldn't usually build a house.
Because we didn't find RU4 property that we were excited about, we're in the process of trying to rezone the property, which is zoned right now as SR43.
Something like that, yeah.
So-
Well, we thought it was
Residential.
RU4 when we first put our offer on it, and then we found out during the offer process that it actually wasn't RU4. We almost gave up on it, but then Ashley did a little more research and found out that it is possible to rezone property. It's not easy and it's not fast, and it's even harder when you don't own it, because the seller wasn't really interested in trying to rezone it for us, which I understand. Fair point.
They've been really great about working with us on letting us do it. So basically all they had to do was sign a notarized letter saying that we are agent of the property, that we can try to rezone it.
Right. We had to get that notarized letter from them, and also in our offer we specified that we would not buy the property unless it got rezoned. So the rezoning is sort of keeping us from actually going ahead and buying the property, because we don't want to buy it and then not get it rezoned properly, and then we've got land that we can't really do what we want to on it. So we did make a trip. We had a meeting with planning and zoning, and so we took our notarized letter and we submitted our paperwork, our application for the rezoning, which wasn't finished because we had a lot of questions, and they were great. Like, they answered all the questions and kind of helped us. We're like, what do we put here? And they're like, oh, just put that. And they were really great, explained a ton of stuff to us. And then we had to pay for the application. So the application is $500 plus a certain amount per acre.
Yeah, like $15 per acre. So it ended up
$15
being like
per acre.
$665.
Yeah, something like that.
The reason we're telling you this is we really want to keep track of how much everything costs.
Yes.
I think that's good information for people who are
Yeah.
wanting to do the same thing.
Definitely. So where we're kind of at with it now is that we took those papers, we dropped them off. So they've officially, we're like the first rezoning of the year. We're like 01. They don't get a ton of rezones per year. What did he say? Like four or five? Yeah. And we talked to him before. We're like, is it even possible to do this? Like, what are our chances? The guy that we were talking to, he said that what you have to do is you have to, submit the application, and then we actually have to go present to the board, and that will happen here in about a month. He said they're going to give you a hard time because they don't like people because we're sort of down zoning something, and specifically we're doing it for the opt-out, which the planning and zoning people are not huge fans of anyway. He said they're probably going to give you a hard time. They're going to ask you a lot of questions, and you need to be ready to respond to those things. He said, but I haven't ever seen a rezoning application denied.
Well, a downgrade zoning.
Right, a downgrade to RE4. Not allowed through. He said they'll give you a hard time, but they'll probably push it through anyway. So we're like, okay, so we're hoping that it goes well. May not. I mean, I don't know. We may end up back at square one after 4 months of trying to rezone this property. So we have to put our plan together, and we're going early March to go present, and then we have to wait a whole other 4 weeks after that to know if they've decided to rezone it or not.
So mid-April.
So even then, it's probably going to be May before
I think mid-April. We would know.
Well, we would know, but then you have to go through the whole...
As soon as we sign those papers, we're on the property. We're there. That day.
Yeah. So, it hasn't been a lot. It's just been a lot of waiting.
So, hurry up and wait.
And not knowing for sure what's going to happen. While we're waiting and waiting and waiting on all this stuff to go through, we are just boondocking like crazy. We're staying off grid everywhere that we can, trying to save a bunch of money because we're going to have a bunch of huge expenses when we buy this property. We got a bunch of cash to put up front, and then
we have to get water.
We have to figure out our water situation,
fencing,
septic, and we have to pay to get it surveyed.
That's like $4,000,
which is really expensive for 11 acres and an oddly shaped property
with a road in between them.
Which also, you want to talk about the road.
Oh, so on our property, well, the property that we hope is ours, there's a road that goes right in between. So we have 5 acres on one side and 6 acres on the other side.
Right through the middle of it. So, technically, if that road stays there, anytime we would want to run, an electrical cable from one property to the other property, we would have to get permits and talk to the road people, which is not ideal.
The last time we went to the property, we were looking for the road because we never even knew it was there.
We didn't know there was a road.
There's trees growing in the middle of the road, so it's not technically a road, so we might be able to abandon the road. Yeah, so we can planning and zoning, because we talked to them about this, and they said, well, you can apply
to have the road abandoned.
Which
We don't really know what all that means yet, because there's no point in us even going down that road until we actually own the property like that.
Yeah.
But from what I've looked at in the paperwork, it costs money to do this. So not only do you have to pay an application fee, but then the city is going to want to charge us for the value of the land.
But it would be worth it to not have the road in between.
It would be fantastic to have both of those like combined into one big property. So we'll get there when we get there, but we're thinking about all these things and our brains are just full of
all the things that we
what
can't
do we do?
yet.
What do we do? What do we do first?
So we're trying to decide between what do we do first. Like there's fencing, water, solar, or a building to store our tools.
Yeah. And water's tricky because even though the wells are shallow in the area, there's a bunch of agriculture around there, and they are drying up people's wells pretty regularly. So we're probably going to have to do some water storage, but that can get really expensive. So like, is there some sort of interim solution where we have a smaller water tank and we have it hauled in so we don't have to build a roof to catch the rain?
Yeah,
you see how this just, it's all circular.
Water catchment.
Yeah.
Like rainwater catchment.
Right, yeah.
But that's a whole lot of money.
But when you need you need solar power to run like big tools and like the pump, there's a lot of chicken and egg scenarios that we're running into. So what happens when you buy land with nothing on it? That is where we're at in the process. So we are gonna keep everyone updated. We're gonna keep making videos about every stage of the process. Try to give you all as much detail as possible, because this is a whole new set of things that we have to navigate and we have to learn. And if we've learned anything, the more you put this out there, the easier it is for people to come after us. And so we're already learning from a ton of other people on YouTube and on the internet, and so we want to keep doing that. So we hope you follow along, cheer us on, cross your fingers for us. Hopefully that land gets rezoned and we can start building soon.